Okay, so today's session that we're working on, we're going to do a short introduction to it on conscious creation, knowing that as human beings, we have the ability, the power, the capacity to create virtually anything. And as we awaken more to the conscious awareness of what we're creating and what we're manifesting, it really is something that on all levels, we need to shift our perspective and change our point of view. And that means that when you are speaking, when you are feeling, when you are energetically interacting with others, that is all a part of the consciousness of creation. Every day that you wake up, you're choosing your day, you're choosing how you feel, you're choosing what happens, you're choosing your reactions. Those are all forms of conscious creation. Now, the challenge comes in if you really are not having a good time and you really don't like what your life is like right now, you need to take ownership of it. You need to be responsible for it because the only way it can change is if you change your perception and your perspective. That is part of what conscious creation is. It's being aware that every word is encoded, every thought is a pattern, every behavior is a program, but it's all designed by you. And so many times, as people enter into the spiritual quest or the spiritual journey, they do enter in as the victim. And the victim's role is all about poor me, I can't help myself, along with a really serious dash of don't tell me what to do. I don't like what's happening, but I'm still in charge of me and I will do it my way, even though I'm in utter misery. Don't tell me what to do. That's the battle that happens between the male and the female inside. If you take a moment and you want to just do a little physical test of that, take your fingers and walk them down off the very tip of your shoulder and down maybe 2 or 3 inches. You're going to hit a spot that goes, ow. Just walk it down towards your elbow and you will hit a spot. It's an energetic center. And on the male side, that's the warrior saying, don't tell me what to do. So we get defensive, we get aggressive, we get judgmental, and we, take the stance of it's me against the world. And on the female side, similar, if you walk it down, you'll hit a real owie spot. That's the female in victim role. And she's all curled up in a ball saying, I can't help myself. Well, when the two of those are in charge of life, don't tell me what to do and I can't help myself, where are you going? Around and around and around, repeating the same patterns, the same programs, the same situations. They may look a little different, they may evolve slightly, but at the end of the day, until you take ownership of your ship, in other words, your body and your being are the mothership, you've got to take responsibility of what kind of fuel you put in it, what kind of energy it emanates, what kind of maintenance you do, what kind of effort you put into maintaining how well it is taken care of, how well it is run. It's all up to us. Everything in our life is all up to us. We are not victims. We are volunteers. Say it with me now. I am a volunteer. Yes. So, knowing that you're volunteering for something, why not volunteer for something that is incredibly healthy and happy, joyful, playful, outgoing? Volunteer for enjoying life. If you're going to be here and you're going to do this, and spiritually you're in charge of the story and how it is written and how it unfolds, start paying attention to what you're putting in there. Or as I like to say in my own physical being, pay attention to the tension. If there's tension going on in there, guess who put it there? It wasn't you hitting the door jamb with your shoulder. It was you not paying attention that you need to be conscious and creating something that is more kind, more loving, more fair, more true, more in alignment with what supports a very healthy and loving health lifestyle. So conscious creation is a powerful thing. It's a superpower that we have, and you can use it to create misery, or you can use it to create mastery. Two very different stories, two very different outcomes, two very different journeys. And I don't know any human being that doesn't have a little bit of both going on, especially right now with some of the frequency challenges and sun flares that we're having, and all of the different illusions that are surrounding our world. So again, focus your conscious creation on, wow, how life is opening up for you, how it is unfolding for you, and what are you doing to support what you do want, as opposed to focusing on all the things you don't want. So conscious creation is really important. Conscious creation happens in dreams, and dreams are the bridge between conscious and unconscious. Dreams are where the two come together to give you flashes, images, ideas, inspirations, directions of what you are actually feeling or fearing. And if you pay attention to your dreams, they can sometimes really give you incredible guidance as to what needs to change or what needs to happen, or what part of your life you need to be focusing on in order to create a shift. Dreams can be very cryptic. They're more giving you, and again, I see them more as flashes of information as opposed to giving you the whole story. They'll give you features, kind of like watching a movie, that's coming up next. They'll give you those important features, a little flash of what's coming, just to catch your interest or to stir up some sort of a reaction within you. So it's really important right now that you keep some sort of, even if it's just a piece of paper and a pencil, a pen, whatever, beside your bed. And if you have had a dream that is significant to the point where it has woke you up, that is spirit saying, this is very important to you. This is important to your process, to your journey, to your awareness. Write it down. And I do find if you can write 3 things about the dream, you don't have to write the whole dream out. I know you journalists, you'll just want to get out there and get the book and fill it. No. Just take 3 things and write them down that are significant to the dream and leave it. Once your soul knows that you have recorded that, you will be able to go back to sleep and you will be able to continue resting. If it is important to you and you haven't written it down and you haven't processed it or done something with it in some way, chances are you're not sleeping the way you absolutely could. You're still going to be in a turmoil state or processing somewhat, because soul self is saying, this is important. This is information you need. So that beautiful bridge that is the dream between conscious and unconscious is a gift right now in our world where there's a lot of things going on and a lot of changes happening. If you are in a place where you are physically uncomfortable or unwell, dreams can very clearly gift you with some insights into what's going on. And one of those gifts is the hour that you have the dream. There's a whole list of connections between the hour that you are awake and what organ is normally doing a reboot in that hour. Our organs during the night of an 8-hour sleep will cycle around, and every organ will take time to recalibrate. So if you are waking up specifically at a certain time repeatedly, it's typically that organ saying, okay, we're having a little struggle here. We're stressing out over trying to do a download or a clearing or a cleansing or a healing. So pay attention to that and support your body and your systems in whatever way you can based on the organ that is giving you the information. So dreams can also, as we know, they're kind of that bridge between the conscious and the subconscious. They can also connect you to the collective conscious. And as light workers right now, we're finding more and more we are kind of at the place where we're comfortable processing our own stuff, but we are now being guided to work on the collective conscious level, because that is where the earth shifts and the changes are going to be made and to come from. So you'll be tapping into the collective, and you may go to bed, having the best day ever, only to wake up having the worst morning ever. And it's like, what just happened? That's soul self connecting to the collective and just saying there's been a shift, there's been a change. There's a lot of anxiety coming up. There's a lot of fear coming up. There's a lot of judgment going on in the collective. So it doesn't necessarily mean it is your responsibility and your job to change the collective. You can't. But as one who is connected to it in a very profound and powerful way, shift your own version of the collective, your own personal part in it. And what I try and explain to people is that for the most part, as humans, we run around trying to fix everything around us so that we feel better. And that can never happen. It's an impossibility. Changing ourself is what changes everything around us. Much easier job. Change yourself, change how you feel, change what you're focusing on. That one thing changes everything. Instead of us running around perpetually trying to change everything so that the one thing that's important to us feels better. So that's a little insight into the collective conscious. Collective conscious is also very directly connected to community. We are forming communities, whether you realize it or not. You are energetically, I'll equate it to the dolphins and the whales. They send out a signal to their pod, and no matter where their pod is on the planet, they respond. So right now, as spiritual light beings sending out signals of it's time to gather, it's time to form community, you are sending those signals out from your heart, from your soul, from your higher self, your spiritual being. Those signals are being sent out constantly. And the people that are in alignment with who you are and what you're here to do will start gathering in those pods, in those communities, in those smaller collectives. So trust that if you are feeling incredibly alone and you don't feel that you belong anywhere, that's short-lived, because your pod is forming, they're going to be showing up, and it's not always a perfect match when they show up. As a matter of fact, they sometimes can show up in a beautiful clash where you meet someone or you react to someone in a way that just like, oh, I don't get them, they've triggered me. Well, again, going back to, I volunteered for this, I'm triggered, my problem, my solution, my challenge, I will find what is going on in me. So the gift that comes from these clashes of energies as the pods come together, again, it's triggering each other. So the residuals of what is going on and what is happening that is not in alignment with love will surface very quickly. Now, it's really essential that you are able to respect that and show up in that version of you that just says, okay, just been triggered. This is what I am doing to resolve it. And to be able to turn to the person who you have connected with and give thanks. Give thanks for them being able to trigger something in you that you might not have recognized or realized without that moment taking place. It's a much gentler, softer way of greeting people when they know that you are going to take and work with your part and your role in whatever is going on. So it makes a special community when others recognize that, yes, triggers do happen. Yes, things do take place where we're uncomfortable. And it's up to us to work and smooth the energies and the frequencies and elevate them to a place of comfort. That's our job. That's our purpose. So that's, again, it's a conscious creation. And when community can create on that level, where they all jump in and support someone that is triggered instead of judging them and showing them the door, which is the old way. It's like, oh, you're not perfect. I had no idea. There's the door. No, none of us are perfect. and we will each take a turn having the hot seat of imperfection. So when you know that your tribe and those that gather around you are in alignment with what is taking place, they understand how the game is played, and they hold space for you, they hold love for you, they support you and encourage you while you do what needs to be done. That's a special kind of community. And I believe that is what our community represents, is a safe place for us to do what needs to be done in order to heal and to be encouraged to be the best that we can be. It's never going to be perfect. Get over it. Perfection's highly overrated. It would be incredibly boring if everything just happened perfectly. That takes the whole fun out of the adventure of the human experience. Okay, so let's move along to desires. Dreams are something that happen in the conscious of the mind in communication with the heart, whereas desires tend to be more about the heart in alignment with the physical. So desires will come up when we see something that stirs our spirit, resonates with our soul, gives us a moment of aha, or the famous one, the goosebumps. We all love to have the goosebumps because that just helps us resonate so easily with something important is happening, something good is taking place, and I want more of that. So it helps us move ourselves in a direction that enhances and expands the experience that we're having. Desires can be very sensual, they can be sexual, they can be food related. I think we've all graduated on that. We're all good with the food desires. I think most of us have, perfected the purpose of addictions. Those are desires gone wild. And if that is the only thing that you're really having a relationship with, then you need to take a look at the role that that is playing and what is it replacing? Because food is never meant to replace a relationship. It's never meant to replace a connection that you have either to your own inner being or to another human being. So desires will show up to help you amplify and magnify something that is going on that you need to pay attention to. Is it in balance? Is it uplifting? Is it encouraging? Is it loving? Those are the kind of things that you need to ask yourself when it comes to desires. So desires come up as feelings, emotions, or intuition. And when it comes to feelings, again, it's paying attention to, is that feeling uplifting, or is it revealing something that's inside of me that is unhappy, out of place, out of sorts, out of balance? Not dismissing it, not getting rid of it. I love it when people say, I'll just get rid of it. Well, I got news for you. If you haven't heard, everything's a circle. So if you're getting rid of it, you better duck because it's coming. So you might as well face it, own it, look at it, examine it, embrace it. Pick it apart if you need to, examine it deeply if you insist on it. But it's just recognizing that the feeling is there to help you understand more about you. It's not there to help you understand more about the people that rang your bell. It has nothing to do with them. It's your feeling. Only you can decode it, understand it, embrace it, and own it. And once you do that, even if it's, extreme, like an extreme angry reaction, and when you take ownership of that, it's like, take yourself to a place where you can actually allow the anger full out without anybody watching, without anybody observing. If you're a little shy about the whole, I'm just going to do a crazy dance here right now, and I don't care who's watching. If you're not comfortable with that, some people are, I'm not. I like to take it to the place where, the trees understand my anger dance or my anger yell or my anger sounding. It's just something, it's a safe place for me to go, and letting it out and letting it have, I call it, let it have wings. Give it wings so that it's not sitting somewhere inside of you, making a stressful place in an organ or a system that end up eventually being dysfunctional because you can't let it go and you can't let it out. So feelings are powerful. They're special. and when you start treating them with respect, that they actually do have a purpose, they do have value, and they do have a way of helping you learn more about yourself, then all of a sudden you're in a different state of grace. You're in a frequency that starts revealing solutions instead of sadness or frustration. Now we've got solutions. When feelings have wings, they take you places that you're meant to be instead of the place that you're in. So that's a good one to follow. Intuition is incredibly powerful, and especially right now, our intuition with the pineal gland opening more and more, our intuitive self is almost working overtime. And when it works overtime, we can get stressed out pretty quickly because the information, the data, the possibilities, the variables that are being presented to us can seem completely overwhelming. See if you can't work with your intuition in a way that says, I understand there's a lot going on. I understand that I'm reactive to just about everything going on. Is there a simpler way? And when you address your intuitive self in a way that says, okay, whoa, I get what you're doing and I'm good with what you're doing. Can we just dial it back a bit? You can ask that. You can ask soul self to just say, slow it down. Instead of running the film flat out, can we just do a frame at a time and see where the wheels fell off the bus? And go back to that moment, put the wheels back on the bus, and know that everything's going to be okay. And when you realize that you are in charge of that, you are in control of that, your intuition will start showing you things more clearly and more gently with a higher degree of effectiveness. Intuition is incredible and it's a beautiful thing. But let me tell you, it's the stepping stone that is very directly connected to telepathy, mental telepathy. We are becoming telepathic. And right now our intuition is showing us how fast we can fly. It just doesn't tell us how to get off the ground. So intuition is pointing in the direction, and if you keep following with intuition, and your telepathic abilities are going to be opening up, so that not only do you understand more clearly within yourself intuitively, your intuition when it comes to communicating with others is also opening up exponentially. So yeah, first few times it starts happening, you're like, that's weird. I already thought that, and they just said that. And it's kind of an invitation or an invite to experience it, to explore it, and not get intimidated by it. Because imagine what it's like if we all woke up tomorrow and everybody knew what everybody else was thinking. That would be a game changer, because there's a lot of things that we're still thinking we really would rather other people didn't know. So we have the opportunity to clean it up, clear it out, and cleanse the feelings so that we're completely in charge of them, and they are actually there to help and enhance our journey. Okay, and we're going to talk about distractions. There's a lot of distractions going on right now, and they are purely designed to keep us off our game. The distractions are there in the form of temptations, they're in the form of information, they're there in the form of things that are being said and shared and told and repeated that are pulling people back into the matrix. When you realize that that's the game that's being played, and you are hyper aware that distractions are not working in your favor, they're actually there to take you away from the best version of you that you can be, all of a sudden the distractions will not be as tempting. They'll not be as inviting. You'll let them come, you'll let them go. Well, that's a good distraction, but that has nothing to do with my real purpose. That has nothing to do with me right here, right now. And many times when I'm working with people, I find that their story is the biggest distraction that anybody can get caught up in. And the more they continue to talk about their life and their unhappiness and the state that they're in, the more you see the story being repeated and repeated and repeated, not just in one relationship, but virtually every relationship, when you are stuck in your story, that's one of the biggest distractions that keep us from opening our heart fully. If your story is about victimhood, if your story is about judgment, if it's about abandonment, whatever your specialty is, and we all have them, try to understand that if you focus on the distraction initially and really look at it, identify it, what is it up to? What is it teaching me? What is it showing me? What is it telling me? And dismiss it, then you no longer require that distraction. It's like that part of the distraction process. You've got the message, you've integrated it into your awareness, and it no longer has the ability to mess you up or get you confused about where you're going and why you from one room to another. Anybody got that right now? You go from one room into the next room and you don't know why you're there, but you had to go there. It's all about the mind is so easily distracted right now. It's incredibly frustrating. Play with it. Don't get upset with it. Pay attention to it. It's like a game that is being played for your benefit, but until you actually see what it is and what it does and why it's happening, it can be just plain frustrating and upsetting. It's not what it's meant to be. It's designed to actually show you something really important. So pay attention, and distractions can be beneficial. Just don't keep following those butterflies, because there's a lot of them, especially in the news world. If anybody is still listening, I hope you're not, but if you are, that's a lesson in distractions. Distractions lead to limitations. They keep us living in a very small space and a very small awareness and a very small energetic field, so that we don't have the ability to see beyond the story that we're in and the distraction that it's creating. And that keeps you in a place of suffering far longer than you really are meant to. There is no reason or excuse any longer to be suffering with anything. So take that in and just kind of, there is no reason for me to suffer. That's done. That part's done. So why am I still stuck in it? That's for you to discover. And the signs and the information will always be there to help you break free. The biggest form of limitation is our addictions. Everybody has them. Every single one of us have some form of an addiction. Addiction is the cord that keeps us in the matrix. There will be a cord that, until it is completely removed and released, you will still be drawn back to the matrix every now and then. If you're having a day where you don't drink enough, or you don't move enough, or you don't slow down enough, it's when we get into these extremes that the addictions will show up, and the addiction cord is anchoring you into the matrix. So instead of getting upset with yourself because, oh dang, here I am again, it's really paying attention to the addiction, what it is teaching you, what it is telling you, what it is showing you about you that still has not been completely released and healed. Call it a gift. Instead of the addiction being a terrible, horrible, bad thing that you don't want anybody to know, call it a gift that you can absolutely discuss, talk about, expose, explore with anyone. And now all of a sudden the pressure's off, because everybody has them, everybody can relate to them. May not be the same addiction, but it has the same effect. And once we know the game of the addiction and effect, and we can start helping each other, just feel safe to talk about it, to discuss it, to explore it, experience it, and find out the nugget of wisdom that's in it, that's a whole lot of freedom down the road that we all have to look forward to. Okay, so there's a few other there. I think we'll just go on, and we're going to work with destiny. Destiny is unavoidable. Destiny is what your soul signed up for. It's what you as a divine being set out as a plan in your human being so that you could actually arrive at a certain place or state when the whole journey or the project was completed. Destiny is designed to call your name, to inspire your heart, to reach into your deepest thoughts, to pull you from the gut forward in each and every day. Destiny is constantly pulling you. And the illusion is that it comes from the future. There is no future. The future is now, same as the past is now. So your destiny is now. Now, what are you going to do? Are you living your destiny? Are you fully embodied into the place where you are so happy you just can't imagine a day being any different than the one you just had? Probably not. So again, destiny is going to be showing you and helping you look at the image of the reason you came and standing it beside where you're at in that process, in the journey. Are you living your destiny, or are you still just dreaming it? Are you still just desiring it, or are you willing to actually live it? Every one of us as a child had a dream. We had a dream that, one day I'll be this, or one day I'll do that, or one day I'll go here, one day I'll go there. And somewhere in the journey between childhood and adulthood, that dream got lost or it got delayed. Let's call it delayed. So the desire that is inside of us, built in, part of our program, part of our genetics, it's always going to be calling you forward. And you will find the closer you get to your destiny, the happier you're going to be, the more contented you're going to be, the more in alignment you're going to be. The easier life is when you go through the day-to-day process. So destiny is definitely calling louder than louder right now, because as we have been releasing ourselves from the matrix, destiny is now becoming clearer and clearer, showing us the difference between who we were, who we are, and who we have yet to be. And that does sound a lot like past, present, future, but it's all right here, right now. So yeah, wrap your mind around that one. It's all right here, right now. So if you're in charge of your destiny and you had a dream and you are passionate about that dream, but you still haven't lived it, what's holding you back? What's stopping you? Those are the questions you need to start asking soul self. What am I not doing? What am I doing? What can I change? What can I shift in my reality and my perception so that I can live this dream that I came to dream and experience my fullness in my destiny? So destiny, there's a process to it. We have completion, we have commitment, we have a connection, and then we have creation. So what I find a lot of times, if you really want a shortcut to your destiny, find out where you commit and then immediately begin to quit. Challenge yourself. Commit, and then immediately start the process of quit. We don't commit to anything unless our heart calls us to it. And when the heart is wide open and we make that commitment, we're all excited, we're all enthusiastic, energy's flying high, and we're like, woohoo, here I go. And then the next day it's like, well, how am I going to get there? Well, what if I don't get there? Well, what if there's nothing there when I get there? What if I don't like it? You start talking yourself out of what the heart just called you to commit to. So your destiny is very much going to be calling you back into, hey, wait a minute. Your destiny is part of your plan. It is your plan. And you made a commitment to it. You really should start focusing on, how do I complete this? How do I get myself more in alignment with what my destiny truly is? Because my destiny is not to stay in the matrix. My destiny is not to feel out of alignment and unhappy and miserable or, non-abundant right now. That's not my destiny. So what needs to shift and change? How can I facilitate me moving forward from here? And that brings us to the divine design. What is a divine design? Divine design is all about the greatest expression of who you are on every level and how much love is embodied in it. Now, most of the spiritual warriors right now have this incredible love for the world, for people, for the way things are going to be, the concept of heaven on earth. We're all on board for that. Yes, bring us that, bring us more of that. But if within your own self, you are not loving yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not feeling worthy, you're not allowing the blessings to flow, the rest of it's going to be incredibly difficult, if not challenging. I won't say it's impossible, it never is, but it will feel that way. And that's not a very nice feeling, that it's impossible for me to imagine being abundant, or it's impossible for me to imagine having a relationship that as soon as I commit, inevitably I quit. That is a reflection of the relationship that you're having with yourself. When you make a commitment to yourself, do you keep it? Or do you immediately start to sabotage it? Do you immediately start to get distracted from it? Put it on the back burner, it's really not important. It absolutely is important. It's essential right now that you commit to yourself in the highest possible way at the deepest level of what you're capable of. That's what divine design is. It's written in here, and all you got to do is access it. Don't be afraid of it. And just know that the more you ask inner self, the more answers you're going to get. You'll ask your friends, you'll ask your coworkers, you'll ask your neighbors, you'll ask somebody down the street. But when was the last time you asked yourself? Because that's the only place the answer is, the genuine, true answer. Other people can confirm it. They can support it and reflect it back to you and show you how they believe in you. But you're the one that has to believe in you before it's going to happen and genuinely feel real to you. So we have divine design has to do with our humanity. It has to do with unity, which means getting along in community. And it has to do with our divinity being reflected in all of that. And as we continue to build our community, it is being built on the fundamental foundation of our divinity. And divinity doesn't mean we divide each other up and see how many ways we can piss each other off. That's not divinity. But it is recognizing that that happens. And we need to be grateful and thankful for those moments when it does. If somebody's ringing your bells and rattling your chain, bless them and call it good. Be gracious, be grateful. They're helping you discover something that needs to change. That's all. They're not saying you're unlovable or unlikable or they don't want to have anything to do with you. They're just saying, that was easy. That bell was sitting close to the surface. That reaction was pretty good. And learn to laugh with them and not at them when they're in it. Big difference on the reaction or the relationship that you build on that. Laugh with them. Whoo, look at that trigger. Look at that. I didn't know that was in there. Did you? Well, I've seen it for a while, but I was waiting for you to figure it out. These kind of conversations need to be able to happen so that it becomes a co-creative community process where we can all work together at discovering those things that are out of alignment. Let's make it okay. Let's make it a game of discovery and adventure instead of separation and division. That's going to make the world a whole different place. And it starts right here with us. So divine design also has to do with soul self, has to do with your soul tribe, and it has to do with our ability to connect to Mother Earth and the soul of Mother Earth. Most people don't even realize that Mother Earth has a soul. She absolutely does. She is an energy and an entity no different than us, a lot bigger, a lot vaster, a lot maybe more complex in some ways, and yet in other ways, absolutely no different. Cell by cell, system by system, layer by layer. Mother Earth is a reflection of our human body. And the graciousness and the beauty and the wonder of Mother Earth is that she supports all of us. Her resources keep us alive. She lets us see the best in everything that is available when it comes to resources. And the more we can relate to Mother Nature, the more we can actually dialogue with Mother Nature. Everybody's cool talking to God. You know, we get into those little chambers and we get into those little places and spaces. My favorite one is just a bench in the park. I will sit down with God and have a conversation at least once a day. And I'm cool with that. Very comfortable, very familiar. But when it comes to talking to Mother Nature, there's something incredibly powerful about it that seems distant because we're not taught to relate to Mother Nature the way we are taught to have reverence for our Divine Father. Mother Nature is an essential part of creation in every way. She is the ultimate creator. That's the truth of it. She is the ultimate creator. Because Divine Father has the ideas, he has the information, he has the frequencies and the vibration, but he doesn't put it together. Mother Nature puts it together. Mother Nature makes it into something. Mother Nature manifests it into something that we can see, sense, smell, touch, feel. And those are all qualities that we have as human beings too. So Mother Nature has a lot to tell us and a lot to share with us, that those conversations need to start happening more often, where we can just as comfortably sit down with Mother Nature and have a conversation as we have been able to sit down with the Divine Father and offer our prayers and our concerns, our troubles, our issues, our woes, whatever you want to call it. You know, that's one way of connecting, but connecting to Mother Earth is just as important. When you think of us being grounded on this planet, connected to Mother Earth, also being energetically and kinetically, vibrationally connected to the universe, we are the bridge and the conduit that bring those two together in a way that nothing else can. We are an intelligence, we are a conscious, creative entity, energy, that are using both of those and bringing them together in a way that the universe has never seen before. That's how powerful this whole thing is. You think you're living a simple life and that it's, you know, we're only human. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. And I think it's time for us to take responsibility to realize that us as that conduit, that bridge, that rainbow that lives and breathes the energy of the universe into the essence of the earth, that's a pretty incredible experience and existence to say that we're a part of it and that we have the power to affect it in the way that we do. So, yeah. 101 on conscious creation. Are we having any fun yet? Yeah, whoop, whoop. Okay, Sarita, I'm going to ask you to stop recording and we